I'm Rob Roy from FlyBuyer.com, and this is the Cirrus Vision Jet G2 Plus Arrivée Edition. A lot of pilots and people that love airplanes have their dream aircraft. For me, it's an F-14D Tomcat, pretty obvious choice. But for a lot of people, it's this beauty right behind me, the Cirrus Vision Jet G2 Plus, the latest and greatest brand new personal jet from Cirrus Aircraft. Here are some fun facts on the Cirrus Vision Jet G2 Plus. It cruises at just over 300 knots with a max range of 1,275 nautical miles, though real-world conditions bring that closer to about 900 to 1,000 miles. It burns about 50 gallons per hour, making it one of the most fuel-efficient jets available. With a takeoff distance of just over 2,000 feet and a landing distance of about 1,600 feet, it can operate from shorter runways than most jets in its class. It's also one of the quietest light jets, and with Cirrus's Jetstream program, ownership costs are more predictable. So one of the most obvious things that sticks out to you when you look at a Vision Jet for the first time is the V-tail right here, aka what used to be known as the Dr. Killer. What I mean by that is there was the Bonanza airplane that came out many decades ago. It had a reputation for, unfortunately, causing a lot of fatalities in the aviation world. Well, the Vision Jet came out in 2016 with the G1, and they went with a V-tail. One, it looks awesome. It's pretty unique, and nothing else currently modern exists out there that's being made today. But a lot of people had concerns over the safety of that. I can tell you from personal experience that Cirrus has done a lot to make sure that that is not the case. In fact, there have been many studies done to show that just how safe this configuration is. So as you can see, if I walk around the back of the airplane right here, you have the exhaust coming out of the back of the aircraft right there, coming right through the V-tail. So obviously that is not going to interfere with the flight controls, and certainly not the rudder vaders. These are called rudder vaders. The reason they went with a V-tail, one, it looks really sweet, but two, it's for that guy right there. That is a Williams International FJ33 5A turbofan engine capable of thrust up to 1,800 pounds. As you can see, it's a single-engine jet aircraft, and it is very unique. This is the only jet in the world that has an engine mounted on top of the main airframe. A lot of jets, as we know, commercial airlines have them on the wings. The Honda Jet also has it on a wing as well, but the Cirrus Vision Jet has it right here on basically on the back of the aircraft. Another thing that comes to mind with the Vision Jet is the very obvious eggshell shape. You can see it starts off small on the nose right here, and then it gets a lot bigger. And it looks a little funky because you got the engine in the back there with the V-tail. Very distinguishable, very unique. That eggshell shape provides for not standing room, but very spacious headroom compared to other things in this class. I mean, anything in the Honda Jet category, the TBMs, PC-12s that are bigger than this, but still somehow smaller and more cramped on the inside. All right, for opening the jet here, so we've got a handle here. It says to enter, push button, rotate handle. So we're gonna push the button, lift the handle up, and then it splits in two. This top part opens up, which is really nice. Also, it's worth noting these are all really soft touch finishes. Got a really nice leather handle here. Grab this down. The stairs fall down. So there's two different configurations in order to get into this jet. One, if you're a passenger, this seat would be forward and you would just hop right in. Two, if you're the pilot, you can come in this way. So if I'm the pilot, I would come in here, and now I just grab the handle and I can slide it forward, and you can see it opens up all this space in the back right here so that the passengers have a nice, easy opening to get in. All right, so I'm sitting inside the Vision Jet right here. I'm in the pilot seat. If I move my seating position forward just a little bit where I would normally sit, you can see that it's really well built. It's not the most spacious cabin I've ever been in, but it's really fantastic. Just enough headroom. I'm 6 foot. You can see I can reach the controls, no problem. The PFD and the MFD. I've got access to my throttle, my pitch trim, fuel control selector switch, CAPS handle is right above me. We'll talk about that in a second. From a pilot standpoint, this feels very nice. And this is the Arrivée edition, which looks like Arrive, but it's Arrivée. And it just means extra nice leather finishes, carbon fiber throughout. Just a fantastic interior finish. Okay, I'm in the left seat in the cockpit here. Got my shoes off to be respectful for the owner and letting me have access to this beautiful jet. So that's about where my feet would be to access the rudder pedals. Very nice, just perfectly designed ergonomic position for my left arm to sit. I mean, honestly, this is how I'd fly anyway with a yoke. It'd just be left hand on the yoke. Love these. This is called a side stick. It's not a stick. A stick would be in the middle right here. This is called a side stick from Cirrus. Very close to that is the engine start stop, the off run. In order to start the airplane up, you would actually go through your before engine start checklist, and then when you're ready, you select run right here to the right, and then you hold this button down for about 1 second. And it's worth noting you can actually stop the engine start while it's going if you have some sort of issue. Something else that really jumps out to me that I love with Cirrus is this really awesome center pocket right here. Let me pull my phone out. So this, in every seat on the Cirrus, the SR22s have them as well, there's a really great cell phone holder. This is really great. You'd be amazed at just how nifty this is to have. Same thing in the passenger seat, to the side. Really great because a lot of times we stream music from our phones while we're flying, and every passenger seat has one as well. All right, now some things we're gonna mess with inside the cockpit here. This is the PFD and this is the MFD, and these are the 3 basic screens that control the 2 large screens. If we want to run through the checklist right here, this is a really awesome, you see the checklist button. You can scroll, and I can go through and select it or deselect it as I want to. If you're not a pilot, you may not understand the beauty of this, but if you look at any of my Navy videos, I've got a knee board sitting right here with all of our checklists. A lot of times airplanes have them on the side, pieces of paper, which is great, it's nice to have. Cirrus's thinking is that of the future. They're always, maybe that's why it's called the Vision Jet, they're always forward thinking. So in this case, you've got the checklist on your PFD, which is incredible. It is so convenient. It's also worth noting that I'm not actually doing anything. I'm not selecting any buttons. I'm not changing the configuration. I'm really telling myself, really, that I finished these checklists, and it's nice and green. Another thing to note, the gear handle right here, very tiny compared to what I'm used to in Navy aircraft, but that's okay. A little select knob here. We've got some of our FADEC instrumentation and all of our engine sensors right here. Very obvious for the non-pilots watching this video. Anything in the green is good, yellow is not so good, and red is bad. This is one of the coolest things too. I want to talk about using the middle screen here and how it controls the chart. So, you've got a little lever right here. I can zoom in and out on the chart, which is incredible. I can go different information on the airport. So this is information at where we are right now, which is Bozeman. I can go to the arrival page, the approach checklist, which is what I'm really familiar with. If I want to shoot the, let's say, ILS to runway 12, we've got it right here. So I can control the zoom in and out feature with this little nozzle, or I can, if I find it somewhere, if I push it in, I believe I push it in. Yes, now I've got the touchscreen control, so it's literally like an iPad. So a lot of pilots, we fly with iPads, which we have the last 10 years or so, because you want to have the checklist here on your leg, but in this case you don't have to. You've got the iPad on the screen. We've got a really nice climate control unit. This aircraft does have air conditioning. That is an option on all Cirruses. A lot of them do it. I would highly recommend you get it because there's nothing worse than being in a hot airplane and not having air conditioning. Also worth noting, in the pilot seat, I've got a bunch of circuit breakers right here off to my side, as well as over here. Wouldn't be a Cirrus complete without cup holders. So we've got a pretty good sized cup holder right there, as well as more cup holders right down there as well. Okay, so next I want to talk about caps, or the Cirrus Airframe parachute system. That is essentially what makes a Cirrus, it's the plane with a parachute. Every Cirrus aircraft that exists has a cap system. Basically has the ability, if you find yourself in a distressed flight situation where you cannot land the airplane, or you put yourself in a bad position, upside down, somewhere you shouldn't be, or let's say you're the passenger and your pilot is incapacitated, one, I would hit the auto land button first, but if you needed to come down safely without having to land on a runway, this would be your best bet. You would want to pull this handle down, and basically what it does is it slows the airplane down, even with a little bit of a nose up trim, gets in the right attitude, and then it deploys a parachute which comes out the nose and then shoots into the air, and the airframe, the entire jet, will fall down to the ground about 1,000 feet per minute on the descent, which you do land going about 30 miles an hour is what I remember reading. So it is a nice little thump, but you're alive. And people have walked away from a caps pool surviving it on the ground. So that's all about caps. Now I'm in the cabin of the Vision Jet in the second row. These seats are extremely comfortable. We talked about the cell phone holders in the middle of the seats. No armrest on the left side here, but the seats are fully reclinable. So you can grab the handle here. Whoop. You go all the way back. Pretty nice. I can take a very comfy nap. I got a nice armrest right here for my right arm. Not one, but two cup holders. And I could absolutely fall asleep right here in the back. This is what's called executive seating. There are two seats in the second row with a center console type of thing that can be securely attached here to the floor, mounted in. And that allows you to have a pull-out desk situation, so you can work on your laptop in either this seat or the seat on the left side. And you can see the third seat in the back here. So the way that this particular G2 Plus is configured is for 5 adults. So 2 in the front, 2 in the back, 1 in the rear. And you could also have up to 2 children, up to 90 pounds basically. So a seat on the left side and a seat on the right side as well. Other things up here in the passenger seat, I've got access to my temperature controls right here. If we want to pull the TV down, there's a nice little lever. And voila, got an awesome, that's a solid, I don't know, 20-inch thereabouts. All right, hook up an iPad. We've got the HDMI cable plugged in. Play a movie. Hey, look at that. Oh, that's cool. Okay, another big conversation starter here with this aircraft is what's called the Safe Return Autoland feature. It is right here for easy access for the people sitting in the back here. This is a Collier award-winning feature. There's a very prestigious award in aviation given out every year to one airframe or OEM or some type of aviation company. It's called the Collier Award. And this aircraft won it twice. Once for the CAPS system and the ability to have an airframe parachute system deployed via a rocket inside of this jet. And the second one is for this guy right here, the Safe Return and Autoland. What's really special about this is if the pilot becomes incapacitated, the co-pilot, or the person sitting in the co-pilot seat, if they're not a pilot, or any of the passengers can literally come up here, push this button. Once the countdown timer is initiated and finished, this aircraft will use all of its bells and whistles to figure out the best airport to land at within its vicinity. It takes in mind weather, fuel considerations, distance, landing availability, the runway length, fly and approach, do a procedure turn and everything, do the entire approach, but also it will talk to the local firefighters, local medevac services, and you should come to a full stop on the runway. Pretty amazing feature that this has. I mean, literally just last week at the time of filming this, there was a husband and wife, I believe in a King Air in California, that the husband became incapacitated. The wife had to learn how to land the airplane for the first time, mind you, from talking to somebody on the radio through ATC. And they did it successfully and she survived. But in this case, if they were in a Vision Jet, they could have literally, boop, pushed a button and the rest would have taken care of themselves. All right, so pulling up the door is pretty intuitive. You grab this awesome handle here, not hard at all to pull that back, making sure that the insides are not gonna get caught. Grab the handle like this, pull this down. And you close it, you hear a little lock right there. I mean, if the pilot was extremely tall, they would have the seat to there. And I still have 1.5 feet of legroom. This is insane. Really well thought out. Okay, now getting out of the jet is pretty self-explanatory. To exit, push button, rotate handle. So push this button here, the lock's good. Come out, there we go. Pop that open there. Falls down right there. Very nice. Okay, to pull these seats out, it's really easy. You literally, there's a little button on the end of this handle right here on every single seat, and now it is unlocked from the pins. Pick the seat up, and you can pull it all the way out. And then maybe a little lever. Nice and carefully. Great. So now you can see just how much space we have in here. You can do it with this seat, you can do the back seat, and you just went from executive 5-seater plus 2 kid aircraft to an SUV that goes 1,000 miles. This airframe is very capable. You'll notice right here, there's a nice red line around this. TKS fluid only. TKS is a type of de-icing fluid. So you would fill up the fluid in the jet here. It's the same thing for the SR-22. However, it only comes out in 2 places. One on the windshield, which comes out from these ports right here, the silver line. And the second place is right here on the nose. So you turn this on before you go into icing. The idea is that you think you're gonna go into icing. But once you do go into icing, this, if you notice, it's a very different color than the rest of the wing. A lot of owners don't like that. This is called a de-icing boot, or just boot. And so what happens is when you get ice built up on the wing right here, this will literally inflate in different intervals throughout the wing and on different sides. You also have it here as well on the V-tail. So more boots right there. Once you have ice build up, This will inflate, literally just go poop, pop it off, and the ice will come right off. Here's a cool angle of the outside of the airplane showing the emergency egress from the inside. You can also pull the handle from the outside right there, or from the inside of the cabin as well. And then you can pop out, and you got a nice big opening there to be able to hop out. You can't really make the wing, but you can, it's not too far of a jump to go to the ground. All right, I want to talk about the baggage compartment real quick. So we're at the back of the airplane right here. Got the key in, lift the handle up, across, it opens up. And this section right here is really neat. This is the extend section. So this can hold up to 300 pounds of baggage, which is really great. But if you bring something longer like golf clubs or hunting rifles or what have you, you've got a nice little section here to store them in. Now it's worth noting that can hold up to 40 pounds, and it's included in the original 300 pounds. So it's not 340, it's only 300 pounds, but it's actually a pretty good size baggage compartment. Not to forget the fact that we've got more baggage options in the front if you take out the third row of seating, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the business end of CAPS, the Cirrus Airframe Parachute System. You can see right here is a nice big red warning that says, danger, rocket deployed, parachute egress area, stay clear. So the rocket literally shoots out the nose of the aircraft. You have an entire parachute that is literally connected via straps that come up through the airframe all the way to the back of the aircraft. It will float through the air down to the ground. Huge feature. This is why people buy a Cirrus right here. This is why people hate a Cirrus too, because of the parachute. Is it worth that huge price hike to get that peace of mind? Maybe. It depends on personal preference and if that's something that's important to you and your family. Cirrus aircraft, by and large, are really good at providing a platform for pilots, a lot of times newer beginner pilots, but maybe people that have more capital to spend, i.e. doctors, lawyers, business owners. They're really good at getting them into the SR20 or 22 turbo market. And then from there, this platform, the Vision Jet, allows them an easy step up into the next best thing. Other manufacturers and other OEMs might have a stronger airframe. They might have longer legs, better cargo carrying capacity, etc. But what you're paying for with Cirrus, you're paying for the peace of mind with the airframe, the Cirrus Airframe Parachute System, the CAPS. You're paying for peace of mind with the safe return Autoland feature for your spouse who's not a pilot and also passengers in the back. And you are buying an airframe that is decent at a lot of things, but it doesn't excel in any one aspect. There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to realize what you're walking into when you buy this airplane for $3.6 million brand new. And now it's time to give this Vision Jet a FlyBuy score. The Cirrus Vision Jet G2 Plus scores high in cockpit design, ownership, and operating cost, thanks to its intuitive avionics, single-engine efficiency, and the ever-growing Cirrus support network. The mission score reflects its ideal role as an owner-flown regional jet, and its sleek design and V-tail give it a unique ramp presence. But its limited range and modest cruise speed make it less suited for long-haul flights and keep it from living up to its full potential as a true private jet. However, for pilots transitioning from high-end pistons or turboprops, it's an excellent choice that blends jet capability with ease of ownership. Well, that's it for me in the review on this SF50 Cirrus Vision Jet G2 Plus. Until next time, I'm Rob Roy from FlyBuyer.com, and I'm out of here. See ya!